All right. For number one, the easiest way is to just count. Make sure you don't count the first one you're at. I apologize, it's hard to do on my screen here, but you can just kind of cheat it and go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and just count over. Um, but the proper way to do it is C is at 5, so we're going from A to C. So we subtract those and take the absolute value. 5 minus in distance 1. So the answer would be B. Number 2, we're looking for DE. Since it's distance, I don't put the line over it or the line segment over it. E is at 8 minus from the formula, and then -1. Since there's two signs next to each other, I'm going to use parentheses. Notice I did it two different ways there. From the one, I went from A to C, but on the second one, I went backwards from E to D. I did that because it doesn't matter which way you go. Distance is always the same. If you get a negative, you're going to take the absolute value, so it's going to become positive. Any questions on 1 or 2? Somebody throw something in the chat just to make sure I'm putting this all up there. Thanks. Thanks, Willie. Thanks, Carlia. All right, number line again to find the midpoint. Well, it's hard here because we don't have for number 3. I don't know why it's not numbered here. It should be numbered number 3. There's no numbers here, so we kind of just got to count in from both sides. EG in the middle is F. It's that easy. Distance formula a little bit harder. So we got to go back to our notes. Distance P to Q equals x2 minus x1 in parentheses squared plus in the middle y2 minus y1 parentheses squared and the square root around all of that. I'm going to label this one x1 and y1, and this one x2 and y2. Then I'm just going to start plugging in. Again, double sign, so I'm going to use parentheses. Minus from the formula. Algebra says minus a negative is a plus. Miss Rosenfeld probably told you to add opposite. They're the same, so we're going to add them. Again, a double sign, so I'm going to use parentheses. Carlia, I did look over your work. The only thing you dropped at the end was you forgot the square root at the end. That's important because, as you can see here, if we can do the square root, you actually have to do it. That's my final answer. And then if you look up here, it's answer B. Carlia, it's just part of the formula. It's how distance works. And you just have to do the square root. It's kind of like saying, why do you add them together? Well, that's just the formula. Or why do you subtract them or square them? It's just part of the formula. We do the square root when it's perfect. So 100, the square root is 10. If it didn't have a square root that was perfect, like 91 or something like that, we just leave the square root over that. If you did it on your calculator, it would give you 9 point something. Remember, those are irrational numbers. They do not stop. They do not repeat, even though your calculator stops. The green plus sign was minus a negative, Andrew. So whenever we minus a negative, we change that to a positive. Carlia, if we in that case, it's the square root of 100 because that's what 36 and 64 add to. Again, if it added together equal 91, there's no perfect square root for 91, so we would just leave it the square root of 91. For number 5, I'm going to show you the quick way. There is an algebraic way, but I'm just going to show you the quick way. There was a student that showed me this a long time ago. He said, "Can we do this? It's a lot easier." And I said, "Yes. If you want to see the algebraic way, it's in the book. I can show it to you as well. But the quick way is for number 5. Find the midpoint. It's the one with M. How far are the x's away from each other? So you go from 0 to -4. Do that again. So we go 4 more down, you get -8. Now, because it's multiple choice, I already know the answer is A, because that's the only -8 there is. And then you go from -10 to 5, that's 15 spaces. So the answer should be, if I go 15 more from 5 and I go up, answer A. You guys are in the chat. Sorry, I lost it for a second here. I'm trying to re-get it. Okay, number 6 takes a ton of work. Okay, so we have A and B. Which is the closest? Well, I'm going to label this one point C. So we got to find from A to C, and we also have to find from from B to C. So again, we got to use the big long formula. I'm not going to write it out again, but we're going to do x2 minus x1. So B is going to be 9 minus 4 squared plus in the middle. I'm going to run out of room here. Negative 11 minus 1. That's going to also be squared. Okay, going back to red here. A is at negative 2 minus from the formula. Get my y minus from the formula squared from the formula. Okay, this is the most common mistake I see where people get it wrong. Got my chat back up if you guys are over there. If you do this on your calculator, it'll give you the wrong answer every time. You have to put the parentheses around that 6. When you square something, it's always positive. Now you can analyze these ahead of time under the square root, and whatever one's bigger is going to be the bigger one. So since 100 is bigger than 169, these both work out perfectly, and you get 10 and 13 is the square root. So it says which one is the closest. AC is closer, it's 10. So location A, 10.